Soule Darth Vader comic came to an end with its 25th issue only yesterday, and hoo boy is there a lot to break down. After defeating Momin, Vader opens the portal to some kind of spirit world and he walks through, taking on the shape we've seen in his meditations, and he walks through a dark side vision of his past. We begin with Shmi and his birth, and there is more fuel thrown on the fire for the theory that Palpatine was somehow responsible for his conception. That was true in the Legends book Darth Plagueis, at least to a degree. Sidious and his master weren't trying to create Anakin, but their actions caused a reaction in the Force, the creation of life. Nothing definite is said or shown here, but I think it's at least implied as we see just a small swirl of darkness inside Shmi with Palpatine floating over her shoulder. Then again, literally everything happening here is kind of a trippy manifestation of Vader's mind. In an article on StarWars.com, Soule confirmed as much. Vader is going through a dark side guided spirit vision, so nothing in here has to be true, but they can be visualizations of Vader's own thoughts and fears. Like, I don't think as a boy Anakin was attacked by the shadow of Darth Vader, but it is awesome seeing that image from the Episode 1 poster in an actual story. We continue following Anakin as he grows up, joins the Jedi, loses an arm, marries Padme, meets Ahsoka, and then it moves into his future, showing their battle from Star Wars Rebels. At least I have to imagine that's a vision of his future. That makes a lot more sense than assuming this issue takes place at the same time as Rebels. After all, this entire spirit journey has a lot of similarities with the World Between Worlds. I'm not saying they are the same place, but I think they are related in the Force somehow. Similar to the narration heard in Rebels, every frame and every page is narrated with lines from other Star Wars stories, including Kylo's future line, "Let the past die, kill it if you have to." So I don't think a vision of the future is out of the question, and if he has seen some hint of Ahsoka, his line in Star Wars Rebels Season 2, "The Apprentice lives," could be seen as like a confirmation of that vision. Also, the line, "It was foretold that you would be here" from the episode Twilight of the Apprentice is included in this issue, so I think that's a bit of connective tissue to show how Vader knew he would face Ahsoka on Malachor. Moving on, Anakin ends his journey at the steps of the Jedi Temple, where he faces a handful of Jedi Masters, both living and already dead, and then he brutally cuts through all of them, including Yoda. I see this sequence as a dark side test for Vader, like he has to make the choice again to slaughter the Jedi to make sure he's willing to reach Padme. Inside the temple, he sees Palpatine and Obi-Wan, clearly set up to be his two father figures. Palpatine kills Kenobi, and then Vader destroys him in turn. Out on the balcony, he finally finds Padme, who is wearing her funeral clothes already, and kudos for the use of the "Are you an angel?" line, a piece of dialogue that's long been made fun of, and it gave me chills in this moment. As Vader approaches her, he turns into Anakin again. She refuses to go with him, choosing instead to leap to her death. He tries to stop her with the Force, but she is destroyed anyway. Now, I don't think that was really the spirit of Padme. I think, again, it was a manifestation of the dark side trying to teach him something. The choices he's made have set him on a certain path, and he has to let go of everything that's happened, especially when it comes to Padme. The Force is saying she wouldn't want to be with you anyway after what you've done, and it illustrated that in the creepiest, most cruel way possible. Before the vision ends, Vader sees a beacon of light in the distance as an unknown Jedi approaches. As he ignites his lightsaber, the light overtakes Vader and the vision ends. Of course that's Luke, and it's very interesting that the Force showed him this in a dark side vision. I think what we're seeing is that the dark side of the Force isn't malicious, it's just part of the Force. Yeah, it's creepy and unsettling, but ultimately it's showing Vader exactly what he wants, even if he doesn't know it yet. He came in searching for Padme, a way to return to his former self, but that's not possible. She's gone and he has to accept that, but there is another. Unfortunately, he doesn't know what we know, so as Vader comes back to himself, he makes a choice. With no hope of reuniting with Padme, he goes all in on who he is. He lets go of his past and the things that were holding him back, and he accepts where he is in life. Soule in that same StarWars.com article said that he wanted to show Vader go from no to yes over the course of the story. The very first frame of the series is Vader saying no, not accepting what happened to Padme and what his future will be like. The final frame is the inverse of that. He says yes to who he is now, and while I don't really like the addition of the word no at the end of Return of the Jedi, it does make a lot of sense with the journey established in this book. And yet another change made after the prequels is the inclusion of Hayden Christensen instead of Sebastian Shaw as Anakin's Force Ghost. But again, that fits pretty well with what we see in this comic. When Anakin thinks of himself as redeemed, as who he used to be, that's how he appears. But that's not this story. This is like an anti-redemption story. The 25th issue ends with a Darth Vader who has finally let go of his past in exchange for power. This was such a trippy issue, and I think there are many ways that it can be interpreted, so if you read through it and thought differently, please tell me what you think in the comments, and let me know what you thought of the series as a whole. I, for one, loved it. I don't think there was a bad issue in the bunch, and I'm gonna miss covering it every month. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.